Whose house? Rams house. It's the Rams Squad. Sponsored by Gametime. Everything Los Angeles Rams every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Rams Squad Show starts now.
Yes, sir. Whose house? Rams house. What is going on, everybody? And welcome to the first ever edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show right here live on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. This is the new place to be after every single Rams game. The Squad Show will be coming at you live directly after every Rams game, and also one more time in the middle of the week. If you don't know who the heck I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson. Spent some time covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, and now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network. But enough about me. I got two legends in the room with me. First and foremost, you definitely know him. He's the host of the daily Locked On Rams show. Also does some stuff covering the Dodgers and just, a big shot in the sports media world, especially in LA. Mr. Doug McKain, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to talk ball with you. I've been a fan of you from afar. And, of course, Michael Brockers, I've been a fan of since the Rams came back, and just kind of knowing his background, and just excited to talk ball with an actual player. That kind of perspective is really priceless, especially a guy who's put on those horns himself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you already hinted at it. We also got the Rams legend himself. You might have seen him if you watched this game in the third quarter. He was making his broadcast booth debut, I guess. Like we said, Rams legend, captain, longtime NFL D lineman, Big Brock, Mike Brockers is here. How you doing, man?
Man, doing well. Coming live from the stadium, man. I found a little quiet space in the stadium to do my other job. Come on now. I'm doing media all over. I'm never saying no to opportunity. So
there you go.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Yes, sir. I mean, the busiest man in America, it sounds like. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm sitting there watching the game, and I'm like, Doug's a UCLA guy like me, where MJD's in the booth. I love Mina Kimes. I'm like, this is great. And then I'm like, who is that? Oh, it's Big Brock himself. So absolutely love to see that. But obviously we are here directly live after the Rams open their season with a 31-21 win against the Cowboys. Obviously it's a preseason game. Obviously the score doesn't really matter, but hard not to be pleased with what you saw, especially early. But yeah, I mean, you tell me, Doug, you're the Daily Show guy. What were your first impressions? Maybe what you want to see coming into the game, and especially in those early drives, scoring 2 touchdowns right away. What'd you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the story of the game is the play of Stetson Bennett. I mean, after a couple of rocky years, he was on leave. It was kind of a little bit of a mysterious absence at one point. There were people saying, oh, Stetson Bennett's going to be selling insurance. He's going to be working for a State Farm. He's not an NFL quarterback. And today proved why Sean McVey, Les Snead, and this Rams organization has stuck with him, and they believed in him because he can execute throws. I thought there were some really nice throws in there, layering throws over linebackers. The one to Xavier, I think, was a nice ball. I just think the poise of the pocket, the maturity, I was just really impressed with Stetson Bennett the first time he's had 2 touchdowns in an NFL game. So just something to build on with him, and to have 2 quality quarterbacks behind Matthew Stafford and Stetson Bennett, someone that can continue to grow in this organization. I was happy for Stetson, man. That was just the number one takeaway for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's funny. When I did the post-game show on Locked On last year, preseason game, like you said, he was throwing a bunch of interceptions. Everyone was questioning, what's the future for this guy? Obviously made a name for himself at Georgia, but it's a nice problem, or not problem to have. It's a nice situation when you're watching your third string quarterback play. You're not watching like the Cowboys, a guy you went and traded draft picks for, and you're nervous, biting your nails about how he's going to perform. It's like, even if Stetson Bennett didn't play that well, it's not the biggest deal, but he did play well. What about you, Mike? I mean, obviously, with the player, point of view, what's it like going from one preseason to another, maybe not performing in the first preseason like he did the last couple of years? And then what do you think of his performance today?
I thought he played well. Played well. He definitely took control of the offense. I mean, as you guys stated, having two experienced quarterbacks in front of you that you can, kind of pick their brain, ask, what are the nuances to this offense? Like, how can I get in and out of the huddle, smoothly? Like, what do I need to know? Like, how can I shorten up the language in the huddle to get to the guys? So you kind of seen his growth over these past years, and it's what you want to see from a player that didn't play so well last year. You don't want to see the same play he had last year. So the fact that we've seen a more confident Stetson Bennett in the pocket, controlling the offense, it shows his growth. So that at the end of the day, from your third string quarterback, that's what you want to see.
Yeah, and it must be nice too, knowing that it's not like a, hey, I'm going to play one drive and then maybe get pulled situation, right? The fact that he can just go out there, feel like a NFL starting quarterback, play the whole game, and not have to press on every play. Like, I have to impress on this play. He's got another play, right? We saw him on a 4th down bootleg where he could have tried to force a pass for 15 yards. He's like, I'm just going to casually run out of bounds, pick up the 3 yards, pick up the first down, keep the drive going. Definitely. I mean, one last thing from you, Doug. It looked like you had another thought there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that the impressive thing, too, was just the situations he was executing those throws. I mean, the dime to Xavier Smith, that was on a 4th and 6, and he ends up going 16 for 24, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Interception wasn't even a terrible ball, a tad bit underthrown. But I think the fact that he's comfortable enough to throw in those situations, he just looks like a different guy from a confidence level. I love that you bring that up, Mike, Mr. Brockers, that, hey, it's the command of the huddle. And I think that only comes with confidence. And we've heard all training camp long, this is a different guy. His command of the offense is totally different. It's one thing to hear that from your coaches during training camp when everyone's saying nice things about everyone, right, Brock? And then to see it in a preseason game, I think this is a big step forward for Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, didn't waste any time too, right? Right.
By the way, too, I want to get back to your point, Gavin, when you were mentioning seeing Mike on the broadcast. I'm sitting on the couch with my wife, and I'm like, oh, actually, I got to go in an hour. I'm doing this new Rams show. I got to go. And she's like, oh, really? Who's it with? I'm like, oh, it's this former NFL player, Michael Brock. Wait a minute, there's Mike on the screen. I was like, I hope he didn't cancel on us. I hope he didn't take a different gig. So I was in that same situation there, and I was kind of like, I was checking the text, like, we're gonna get a text. And he's like, he's not doing the show. So I'm just happy he's here, and he's clearly the hardest working man in show business tonight for sure.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get it done, man. I'm gonna get it done. Hey, I'm gonna execute. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, yeah, I'm curious. What's it like being up there? Like you said, I think it was your first time in the booth. Like, obviously, you got the play-by-play guy next to you. You got Mina Kimes giving her point of view too. What's it like being in there?
Man, it was cool. Those, when you got JB, Mina, they make you feel at home. So, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't talking over anybody. Making sure I gave everybody a time to speak and things like that. So, it was the first time of everything. I think, I think the player in me always wants to get better. So I know I can get better in some areas, and I will. So just look forward to another opportunity soon.
Yeah, and I kind of want to ask Mike too. I mean, you talked to me before the show about just kind of hyping up the guys, and they kind of impromptu asked you to kind of say something to the team. You've been on teams where, look, you're projected to win a lot of games. You've been on teams where you don't have as much hype as this team. Just from a vibe check standpoint, what was it like being around those guys today? Of course, we know Sean McVey doesn't like to play a lot of his starters, but just the overall vibe of the team, it looked like locked in. Everyone's rooting for each other. It looked like it was off the charts today.
Yeah, man. I got in yesterday actually, and was able to hang around the team a little bit and meet a lot of the guys. I haven't met everybody in person, so to meet Jared Burns, Braden Fisk, a lot of those guys in person, just see their demeanor around the locker room. Jared Burns is a guy they said replaced me, because I was a guy that was always the loudest in the locker room. I was always giving people crap about anything. My day was fulfilled when I gave somebody crap throughout the day. It didn't matter who it was. It can be coaches, trainers, players. It didn't matter. So to know that energy is still around the building. Sean McVey allows everybody to be themselves, and just come to work, be accountable, and show up ready to play. And you can see this team and this unit is led the right way. So to see that, I think they got a long time being a good team for a long time in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious too. I know on the broadcast you were saying like you really looked forward to going to work every day when you were a Ram and everything like that. What's and I promise for the people in here live and watch after fact, we're going to talk about the game, but it's a preseason game, man. I want to take advantage of the fact that we got Big Brock on here all season long. What's Sean McVay like, right? Like, as a coach, I think we see it a little bit, especially in a preseason game when they're actually able to put him on the broadcast. He's joking with Mina Kimes about, every time I get on, we have a penalty. We gave up a 3rd and 26. Like, he's just got that, kind of comedic factor to him. But like you said, he seems like a player's coach first. What's it like, in the preseason and, of course, just all season long with Sean McVey?
Man, I was a part of the team where, they fired Jeff Fisher and, Sean McVay came on the next year. And I was a little, leery because I was like, man, he's a young coach. Is he going to come in with all this energy, having us do up downs and doing all this crazy stuff? And he was literally like, hey, I just want everybody to be accountable. I'm accountable to you guys. You guys are accountable to me. Hey, I want everybody to show up. If you're putting on these horns, just show up to work. Do your job. Don't, we don't expect you to make mistakes, but if you make them 100 miles an hour, So to have a guy who allows you to be yourself, who isn't gonna, take any flack from you, he's definitely gonna tell you when you're slacking or anything like that. But in the same breath, he'll praise you. So to have a guy like that, leading your team, and he's been the same way since I met him, and he doesn't change. He doesn't have a real big ego about him after winning, going to 2 Super Bowls, winning one. And, he's the same way. You appreciate a coach that appreciates you as a player.
And you're probably thinking to yourself, man, this guy looked really young when he started. And even all these years later, like, man, he still looks really young, right?
He's still young and yoked up, man. He's even working out a little bit more, man. I think being a dad, is getting him pumped up in the weight room as well.
That dad strength McVey. And I was seeing people posting. I saw people was calling him McVey. You know what I mean? Like, all super yoked up, super jacked. We got our Aaron Donald replacement player coach. I don't know. I saw that too, though. Man, dude's getting jacked this offseason.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest. I mean, like, you've seen other coaches, like, not to put anyone on blast, but I know there was stuff online when, like, JJ Redick became the Lakers coach, like, 2 months later after he started, like, man, this guy looks tired. Like, he looks like, being a coach in any sport, it's probably the most, like, stressful, tiring job ever. But yeah, Sean, somehow, he looks good despite all the stress that the team might put him through. The good thing is this offseason, I know we talked plenty about, Matthew Stafford and the injury and all the maybe stress that came with that early on. We got good news about him, and I do want to talk about that quickly before we take our first break. It sounded like he had a throwing session. Sean was talking about it on the broadcast. That he's able to make all the throws, that he might even return to practice and throw in next week. I mean, you tell me, Doug. I know you talk about it plenty on the Daily Show. Like, did the concern level change a little bit after hearing some of the news today and just on the broadcast and hearing it from Sean himself about how Matthew Stafford's progressing?
I think so. I mean, I think anytime you talk about epidurals and it's sore and the aggravated and herniated, you talk about things like that, you definitely are concerned, because I don't know if you ever had a back injury, but it's either, hey, I'm walking around, or, hey, I'm on my back staring at the ceiling. So if it was something kind of in between that, it's okay. I mean, I think it's Matthew Stafford, right? He's been playing football 20 years. He's been banged up. He's one of the toughest guys in the NFL to play through an injury. I think it was about just kind of slow playing to the point where, hey, there's no reason to rush this guy back. I think for me, the big concern level wasn't that, oh, this could be some type of season-ending injury that would require surgery. It was more that, hey, saw what happened a couple years ago when they brought in Allen Robinson and Matthew Stafford was on a pitch count because of his elbow. Right. They weren't able to build that chemistry, and then that Rams team just got off to a slow start, a lot of injuries. But we all know, too, that Devontae Adams, he's on a different level than Allen Robinson. So really my big thing is I just want to see all those guys start working together, because I think they have the potential to have a special season. And all those things you just point out, Gavin, those are huge, because basically if you're a Rams fan, you heard everything that you wanted Sean McVay to say about Matthew Stafford today, and I think you're at ease. And then you get a win, then you get a new podcast with Michael Brockers and Locked On. It's a good day to be a Rams fan. It's kind of my point.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think too, just like I was reminded today, like you and yesterday, you've got all the preseason games starting, and part of you is like, oh man, I'm jealous of like the Titans. You get to see Cam Ward, and there's all this excitement, like. But then I was thinking about it, and it's ironic playing the Cowboys too, with how much they're in the news, and it's not usually good. And Micah Parsons, and obviously Dak coming off the injury, all the questions there. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, man, like we've got it pretty good in terms of this offseason. Like you would think a team loses a guy like Cooper Kupp, and it's going to be we replaced him with Devontae Adams. Like, now that the Stafford injury, it seems like it's not a big deal. We're talking about like Blake Corum and how he's going to add on to a guy that we just gave an extension to in a Kyren Williams, right? Or, hey, we just drafted another running back to help him. We drafted a third round, pass rusher who isn't going to be in any position to start, and he looks great in the game today, right? Like, it's a good offseason for the Rams, where you don't have to be too stressed about anything. So I'm going to take my first break. But when I come back, I got a question for Brock about, being a veteran in the preseason versus being a young guy. And also we're going to talk about Davante Adams. We heard from him today. We're going to talk maybe a little bit about the outlook for the season as well. We got plenty to discuss on this first ever edition of the Rams Squad Show. And yes, there's people in here live. Rams House from SM. Love to see all the comments in here. We're going to be reacting to them throughout the show as well. It's a great time here on Locked On. So we're going to take our first break. We got plenty more when we come back on the Rams Squad. So we are going to do a little housekeeping, and today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Now, I do have to, create that relationship with y'all on this show. My Angels postcasters, they know about the big purchases I've been making lately. Just bought a new car, now moving back to a new place, And with Monarch, they make it easy because it all happens in one place. I'm telling you, it's the best service. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. And today's show is also brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best time of the year, man. NFL kickoff is almost here. We got preseason, and that means fantasy football season is back in full swing. And this year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before. I'm playing multiple leagues. I'm sure Brock is, and I know Doug is as well. And whether you're a first timer or a veteran making your millionth league, Yahoo Fantasy, man, it's the place. And so to celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's one team left standing. With the season around the corner, now's the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. If you're more into the classics, you can still play in head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. But stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Back here live on the first of many, the first edition of the Rams Squad Show right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Rams won this game 31-21. I know it's a preseason game and the scores don't matter and all that, but you have to feel good about the performance we got today. Like I said, I teased it. I had a question for Brock, right? You're a veteran. There was plenty of, preseasons where you weren't stressed about, your roster standing or where you were on the depth chart or anything like that. But as a veteran, right, when you talk about maybe mentoring some of the young guys that are playing for roster spots, what's the difference? Being a rookie, being a second year, being a veteran, maybe on a Sean McVey team, but just in general as well.
I talked about this earlier. When you're a rookie, coming in, I was a first round pick, so preseason, I was like, man, this is the time to show like why this organization, drafted me. So I want to put on a good showing. And then when you're a vet, man, you just like, man, I just want to see one of these young guys make a play, especially for me. I used to take a lot of the young guys under my wing, work out with them, on the side and, bring them out early before the game and do little drills and things like that. So, to see them, I got excited when they made plays because I knew, how it would impact their career and things like that. So, for me early on, you want to make, you want to be great. You want to do a good job. And especially for me, I didn't want to be a bust or anything like that. So it was a lot of pressure and a lot of anxiety early in my career. But as when I became a vet and, I got comfortable in my position and where I was, it was definitely looking out for the young guys, trying to see who was going to really make this team, who was going to be, my backup or who we could count on and things like that. So it's always good to be out there and see the young guys go get after it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And like David said here, he said the first teamers, they seemed very engaged and thrilled for their teammates. I totally agree. I mean, Davante was on the broadcast and he literally interrupted his speech because he saw a play happening on the field, right? You always, you want to look for these little things. And I know they're just little, hey, how this guy smile, how'd he look? They're not things that are going to really impact things on Sunday, but it's always a good vibe to see everyone kind of on the same page. I'm curious, Doug, like, in terms of some of the other young guys like we were talking about that could maybe make an impact or make their name felt or heard. Obviously, I was looking at the running back position. Like we said, Kyren Williams obviously gets the deal very recently, but you have maybe a little battle for that backup spot. Blake Corum, Jarquez Hunter, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was just going to bring that up as far as position battles, things that you can take away from today's game that can have any impact on how the roster kind of shakes out, how snaps are going to be handed out. And I think Blake Corum, a guy that didn't get into the end zone all year last year, gets 2 touchdowns today. And he didn't play in the preseason last year, and that was kind of an indication of, maybe Sean McVey is going to have a bigger role for him than what was originally anticipated, and maybe he would take some more snaps from Kyren Williams, even though it was always going to be Kyren Williams' backfield. Well, I thought he was impressive today. Did have a drop that forced him to go for it on 4th down, but I think you saw from Blake Corum that bowling ball style of running back.
Right.
He just kind of has that ability to find the end zone. Great career at Michigan. And look, you were like, okay, why'd you draft Blake Corum as high as you did last year? Was it kind of a panic move because you're wondering about the Kyren Williams extension? You were thinking about the injury history. But no, it's more of, look, let's try to stack this backfield with as many talented backs as you can get. And hopefully you get a better version of Kyren Williams towards the end of the season and the playoffs. You try to preserve that. Also, too, Cody Schrader, man. Like, Cody Schrader was a massive standout. I mean, 59 yards total on 5 carries, 11.8 yard average. He had 9-yard score through the air. I mean, I was really impressed with him, man. I mean, I don't think a lot of people were going to expect us talking about Cody Schrader in the second segment of this show, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, he might have stolen some thunder from Jarquez Hunter a little bit, right? So,
yeah.
like Anthony says here, he's like, the Rams roster looks 3 deep. I mean, we're talking about 3-4 running backs, right? Like again, it feels very nice to know that there's depth everywhere, right? We didn't just see that running back. We saw it at receiver as well. Obviously, we know the 1 and 2 locked in as could be, but when you're talking about Xavier Smith having that unbelievable catch on the first drive, it's nice to see. Mumfield seems to be the talk of the training camp, right? At the wide receiver position. He had a couple plays, but Britton Covey, a guy that could, he's a punt returner, specialist type guy, maybe battling with Xavier Smith for that roster position. Thought there was encouraging plays from a lot of receivers in this one. I'm curious though. Everyone's like, man, we got Brockers on here. We got to talk about the defense, right? The defensive line, obviously one of the strengths of the team. And it feels like we've got 4 starters that are going to be Rams on the D-line for, years and years and years. It's kind of a tough position to break into, but just in general, was there anyone defensively that stood out to you today, Brock, or what are your thoughts there?
Man, I always focus on the D-line. Don't know quite everybody's name, but when I look at the D-line, I see a young, youthful group that's ready to get after it. They led the right way. I've seen a couple of pressures today. So for me, I see a youthful line, especially with all the starters. Let's be real. It's hard to break into that group, but when you have a good group and you need depth, and I would take this back to the offensive side, you need multiple running backs. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Blake Corum, he reminds me of Kyren Williams. They're the same running back in all reality. So one leaves the field, the next one comes back on, and you like defensively, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting tired of this. When you got two bowling ball running backs back there bouncing off tackles and keeping them legs churning, man, it's gonna wear you down. So defenses better be ready to play the run when they go against the Rams this year, because we're known as that finesse team, always have these motions and things going back and forth on offense. But hey, we're coming down right at you at the end of the day. So I love to see the Rams getting physical in the trenches.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the big storyline for the Rams running back room is really, look, we know that Kyren, he got his bag, he's locked in. That Blake Corum, what he can do. It's, can you find that different element that they're missing? And that is a running back that can bring some explosion, right? The Rams at the bottom of the league when it comes to explosive run rate. Jarquez Hunter, one of the best in college football at doing that. Wasn't his best day today, right? Didn't have as many wow plays that you would have hoped. I think I heard you mention it during the broadcast, Brock, about not wearing the gloves. And when the day after the Rams drafted him and we were looking at those pictures, that's the first thing I brought up to Travis. I was like, dude, like, it's kind of like when you see a batter without the batting gloves, like it really stands out. And that means something to me. It's like, this guy's, he can get down and dirty with it. Like, he's a little old school. And I think for a guy that kind of runs out of explosiveness, that could take this offense to the next level. If Jarquez Hunter can be something, Kyren, we know what you're going to get from him, and then you just kind of mix and match. So that I think is going to be a big X factor. Is it, can he be the guy he was in college or anything close to that at this level?
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about him, the country boy. They said in every way. It's ironic you're playing the Cowboys. They're talking about him having horses and, squatting and things like that. Like, so, yeah, I mean,
Brock, what was your hand situation? Were you a gloves guy, tape guy, like thick? I mean, like, do you have any routines you went down with the gloves or?
I was a prima donna, bro. I seen a couple of guys' hands, old school NFL players, and they were all like going different ways. I was like, bro, I need to keep my fingers taped and glove. Like I wanted as much protection as possible because when you're in them trenches, man, you wouldn't imagine how many times your hands get caught in like different positions and a face mask might hit, or you're going for a tackle, somebody steps on your hand, and like playing with no gloves is almost insane. So to have a guy that plays running back with no gloves, man, he is getting after it.
And you would get down with some sleeves too, right? Like,
oh yeah. I mean, I believed in you play, you look good, you play good. So I had to come out looking swaggy every game. So, it made me feel like I had to go out there and play well.
I also want to ask you guys this too. I mean, this is not related to the Rams as much, but I was yelling when CeeDee Lamb get hit by the ref and he got a 15-yard penalty. He had Mingo making a catch, and CeeDee Lamb, who, by the way, I just drafted one of my fantasy leagues. I was like not happy about that. He's like, boom, and he falls to the ground. I don't know, what was the reaction in the stadium like? Did you see on the replays, Brock? Did you see what was going on? And Gavin, I know you saw that too, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought that was a guy like a rookie or something like that. I definitely said, oh, yeah, he's getting cut. Hey, now that I know with CD, like, I don't know. You might have to live with that one, bro.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I mean, literally the whole play, because Sean McVey, I believe this was all the same play. I believe McVey is on the broadcast. Was that correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the 3rd and 26 play where Sean's on the broadcast. He's like, all right, let's not have a penalty. Let's get off the field. The guy, I forget who the DB was. He gets burnt on the double move. Sean goes, oh, no way, like live. And that's why it's great. The preseason, he goes, oh, no way we got beat on a double move. The ball's in the air. And so I'm looking, we see kind of a pass interference play. You're like, okay, Sean's pissed. He literally was like, all right, Mina Kimes, I'm off. Like, I'm pissed now. And then you hear this call. It's like, oh, there's PI, but also an unnamed or undressed, not wearing his jersey Cowboys player, clipped a ref. And I'm thinking same thing. I'm like, oh, some, fourth stringer is going to get cut because the stay off the sideline guy forgot to pull him. And then like Doug's saying, it's one of the best receivers in the NFL. It would be such a Cowboys thing if like CD actually got an injury from that. Like, I mean, you see him get like this whiplash. He got drilled in the back. Like, again,
launched. Like he straight up got launched. Let's be honest. It wouldn't have changed the Cowboys' outcome of the season. Like, let's be honest about that. And okay, of course, I'm only messing around. All my Cowboys friends. I have so many family members that are Cowboys fans. I have friends from Texas and family from Texas, Brock. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and you saw people just like talking crazy, like he didn't see the official and he got slammed, and just like people were just going off the rails with this thing. But I'm just happy he's okay. Let's be honest. He gets injured there. That's the biggest story, maybe other than how Jador played yesterday in week 1 of the preseason. Right. So thankfully he's all right.
Yeah. And just the preseason in general, right? Like, it's like the goals, like we know, it's like, especially with the Rams, like we're saying, like you want to see guys maybe fight for a roster spot or two, but like just get through the preseason without any serious injuries, without any huge question marks. Like the Rams don't really have many question marks coming into this preseason. So let's just keep it that way. And so, yeah, if the scariest injury scared thing was CeeDee Lamb getting hit by a ref and nothing with anyone wearing blue and yellow, then that is absolutely what we want to see. Now, I do want to clarify something for some people in here live, because I think people, first off, they're saying how much they love Brock. Anthony says, we love Michael Brockers. Please hang around more often. Talk about Jared versus succeeding you as the leader in there. We got other people saying, yeah, Coach Art says, Brockers is everywhere. What's up, 90? And what I got to just clarify is, I think some people think, hey, this is a one-time thing. We've got no. All season long on the Ram Squad Show, it will be the three of us, and we're also going to have some guests on here throughout the season as well. So don't worry. I know he's now the busiest man in sports media, but he's going to be with us every single post game. We're going to be doing a midweek show as well. So this is the squad, and we're going to be adding players or people talking throughout the season as well. So just have to make sure everyone's clear there. Now I got to ask you, Brock, because you were telling me before the show, Tommy says you need to work out with AD. I heard you talk about it on the broadcast about the Aaron Donald story that Jared Verse gave. It sounds like you ducked that smoke. You didn't do any workouts with him?
Yeah, ducked that completely. I worked out with him enough while I was playing with him. Like, why do I need to do extra? So he's not gonna take any pressure off of me. So I just know what type of guy he is in that weight room, and I just rather not. I'm retired. What do I need all that stuff for, right?
I love it. I know you said you probably gonna have to go at some point pretty soon, because I know you, like you said, you're like, I live in Texas. I'm a central guy, so central time guy. I don't want to be here late on the West Coast. I get it. Before we let you go, I'm curious, when we talk about how stacked this D line is, and we talk about an Aaron Donald, we talk about you. How much of a role do you think him and you and others being in that position group for so many years, setting a standard, and then kind of passing it along, where it could have been this huge, everyone, I remember a couple years ago, oh my God, how are the Rams going to live without Aaron Donald, right? And the standard that you guys set, it seems to have continued things. How much of a role do you think you two guys and maybe other people as well played in us having such a great line? And of course, the drafting helps as well, but what about that?
Man, I was talking to Doug, earlier, early in the game for pregame, I was on the sideline just kind of watching the team work out, do their drills or whatever. And the D-line coach kind of points at me, and I'm like, "You talking to me?" He's like, "Yeah, come over here." And I go over there, and I'm like, "Okay, maybe I'm just getting a close up to the guys, Then he's like, "Hey, everybody, bring it up, Hey, Brock got something to say," and I'm like, "On the spot, coach,"
Crazy,
So pretty much what I told him, man, that since I've been here, this team goes as we go. If we don't win, it's gonna be because it's something we didn't do. We didn't get enough pressure. We didn't get enough tackles for loss or whatever. And since I've been here, the D line has ran this team. So the Rams are gonna be as good as the D line is gonna be. So it's always been that way since I've been here, and it's gonna continue. After I'm gone. They have Brandon Fitz, Jared Verse, Brian Young, they have so many guys who have, we've passed that torch to, and, who are doing a tremendous job. So I think, where the Rams are, they're in a good place when the D-line is doing well. So for me, it's good to see as a Rams fan now, the analyst, that the Rams are keeping that tradition going. They started up front, drafting two great players out of Florida State, and seeing their production last year. So I'm looking forward to this season as well.
Yeah, and I mean, too, just like it's stacked as could be. And if you're telling me that the Rams go where this D line goes, then man, I think Doug and I are going to talk a little bit later on this show about maybe our outlook on the season. If you're telling me that the Rams go where this D line goes, and we know how good this D line is, man, hey, it's hard not to feel pretty excited about this upcoming season. Absolutely. But hey, appreciate you being on. Of course, this isn't the only time it's going to be all year long. I'll let you go enjoy the rest of your night, because you've had probably the busiest day of anybody here, but enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We still got another 30 minutes though of the squad show. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to let Brock get out of here. And when we come back, Doug and I are going to talk a lot more about some of those position battles. And I do want to talk about our outlook on the season, because it's hard not to be excited. We're going to do that after our break here again on the first ever edition of the Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Now, just a little bit more housekeeping. Today's show is also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. It's time to fuel it up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Now, it brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink. I forgot to ask Brock if he's a golf guy, but I play some golf. We'll talk to Doug about it maybe later in the show. And I'll be honest, right? When you need some energy, the golf course is probably the best example, right? And so what's great about 5 Hour Energy Transfusion is it brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, but minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, like I said, some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. I was laughing with Brock before this. He's on Central Time, so when we do our midweek show, he might be up a little bit later than he's used to, right? And so whether it's a time like that or any other time, 5 Hour Energy, it's the way to go. So golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape, ginger, lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev card. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use the promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or turning 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5-hour energy shots today. Back here live on the first ever and first of many edition of the Ram Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network. If you don't know, we're live right now on the Locked On Rams YouTube channel. We've got a bunch of faces in here leaving their comments. If you are watching this after the fact, both on YouTube or listening on any Locked On Rams audio podcast platform, just know that you can come in here live directly after every single Rams game. You can leave us your comments. You can talk to Rams legend Michael Brockers. You can talk to LA sports media legend Doug McKain, and you can talk to me, a guy. So I'm really excited for this. It's going to be a great, vibe all season long. Right now, it's just me and Doug. And I got to say, Doug, like I said, I led into things, or I just read the ad there. Just a question. Are you, what's your side hobby? Because I know you're doing Dodgers. I know you're doing Rams. Are you a golf guy? I know we talked on the phone about getting in the gym. What do you do when you're not watching sports or breaking down sports?
Man, I'm a tennis dude for sure, actually, to be honest with you. But really, my side hobby is just kind of like watching more sports, I guess, kind of. But yeah, I mean, tennis dude, lift occasionally, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm about, go on long walks, listen to podcasts, things like that. A big movie guy, sit down, binge some movies, things like that. But yeah, man, have a great time pretty much doing anything, to be honest with you.
Love it. Like I said it there.
But all my friends are into golf. By the way, all my friends have gotten so hardcore into golf where it's almost like either I get hardcore into it or I'm going to have no more friends. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, at this point, like I gotta up my clubs and do this and that. My whole thing is like, Gavin, I'm a very obsessive type of dude that I know that like once I go into golf, like I'm going to be absolutely obsessed 24/7, 365, which I know is inevitable. So maybe we can hit the course sometime very soon.
There you go. I mean, I'll be honest. I actually played 1 year in high school. I played some golf growing up. Not when I say I play in high school, people are going to think that I was playing golf once a week. No. Not until high school. Before that, I would go, in the summers and play. Believe it or not, they can't tell on the show, but I'm actually 5'4", and yet I chose basketball as the sport to pursue throughout high school, but also snuck some golf in there. And so I haven't played in ages, I'll be honest, but I think it would be fun. It's funny too. I bring this up, and this is totally something I just thought of. They're talking about it on the game today. Davante Adams messing around, Ronnie Rivers, they're playing golf. Next time we get Brock back on here, the next show, I'm curious what the offseason looks like when you try to step away from football, right? Because I can't imagine it's probably so stressful, right? Just like getting ready for a season and everything. So it was nice hearing Davante talk about, messing around with Ronnie Rivers and stuff about the golf course. But I guess it's a good transition to talk about Davante Adams. I mean, we talked about some of the other stories of the offseason, the main one being Matthew Stafford. Got good news there today. Of course, we talked plenty about, first off that, but plenty about Kyron Williams and the extension and all the running back thing. Let's talk about wide receiver a little bit. I mean, we saw some backups today that made names for themselves. Want to talk about that. And then I haven't gotten to talk to you about Davante Adams replacing Cooper Kupp. We saw another guy wearing number 10 today that wasn't Cooper Kupp. But what's your vibe on the receiver room as a whole, both the set starters in Puka and Davante, and also some of the guys we saw today?
Yeah, I think you said it best, honestly, towards the top of the show, that not a lot of organizations can lose a Cooper Kupp where it's really more of a financial reason why, because you don't think that a guy that's going to have a cap hit around $29 million is worth the kind of production that he was giving up. I mean, last 3 years for Cooper Kupp, after that historic Triple Crown season, one of the best seasons we're ever going to see for a receiver ever, he had 812 yards, 737 yards, and 710 yards, right? And the contract he got was probably a little bit of an overpay that you didn't need to do at the time, but that was for, okay, we know you're going to give us 2021 Cooper Kupp, but can we get half that? Can we get 80% of that sometimes? But they didn't even get close to what they were hoping for. And so not only do you get off that, you somehow replace them with Davante Adams. There's just not a lot of organizations that can pull that off. And I think the difference between Cooper Kupp and Davante Adams is, look, I mean, you hear the kids say, I mean, your generation, this guy's washed and this and that, right? And hey, and all the cool stuff. Now, I try to keep up, right? And the truth is Cooper Kupp washed? I don't want to say that. That's disrespectful. He's a Rams legend. He's my favorite player ever since he returned to the Rams. I still think that a change of scenery is okay for him, right? I mean, because he's going to have the extra chip on his shoulder, trying to get healthy. And the truth is, it's just, for him, he's had struggles staying on the field. But Davante Adams, this is a guy that, even though he's north of 30, right, he's a walking 1,000-yard season. He's a walking 8-touchdown season. And I think, too, for this Rams offense, Puka Nacua already emerging as a true number one receiver in this league. And he's going to make Puka Nacua a better receiver. He's already made Puka Nacua a better receiver through what he's learned from him during training camp. Puka Nacua has mentioned it. Something specific. You're in the red zone, and instead of bumping into the dude, trying to get physical because you're a big guy, get around him, right? And save yourself that physical toll. Just those little nuances of the game that Davante Adams knows, getting in and out of his breaks is going to help Puka, but also just the attention he's going to command is going to open things up for Puka, for Tyler Higbee, or possibly Terrence Ferguson and guys like that. So I couldn't be more excited because, look, there's guys that have the juice, and there's the guys that you get in the right times of their career. I think that Davante Adams and Matthew Stafford, these are two guys that have had great careers. They're ready for one or two more rides at this thing. Let's just be completely honest and call it what it is. As far as them being great players on Super Bowl winning teams, I think you got a couple more cracks at it. And you got Davante Adams. He knows what it's like to be on a team that has bad chemistry, right? He even called it a dark cloud in the offseason. The Raiders, the Jets, Aaron Donald, and quarterbacks that just aren't Matthew Stafford. So I think that he's re-energized. I think he's at a perfect spot where he wants to prove that he still got it. And I think that this is just a great situation for the Rams. And you talk about the top two guys, I mean, they're right in the mix with some of the best duos in the league.
Yeah, and I'll say, you kind of read my mind right there when you said you talked about Davante and where he came from, and I was really going to bring that up. So that's a good sign, right? This is show one. We got a lot of shows, and we're already finishing sentences. I love it. I was going to say, on that the broadcast, he literally said, hey, I'm stepping into an organization that has proven they get it done. I'm just stepping in, right? He's like, and I'm going to add, they were asking him, how are you mentoring Puka, right? How are you mentoring some of the other guys? He's like, I'm doing it. And the good news is I can just step in an organization where there's proven success, right? There's a proven blueprint. He talked about how much he already respected Sean McVey. Then he meets him. He's like, oh, he's even better, right? He said the same thing about Puka and others, right? So I think it couldn't be any different from where he was coming from to where he is now. And that's what you want when you're a veteran, right? You don't want to have to step into a new dramatic thing. I mean, maybe the veteran of all veterans, Aaron Rodgers, wants to create that wherever he goes. But most veterans want it to be calm and casual towards the end of their career and only have to worry about playing the game on the field. So I love it. We got a Dodgers guy in here, and everyone's losing their mind about the Dodgers in the chat because Doug is here. What you got for me?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, we're watching that. We'll be post-gaming that, too. So busy night for me. I'm trying to catch up with Brockers, see how many shows I can do in one day. But you asked me about the golf thing. You bring up Davante Adams. I don't know if you know this. Davante Adams is like the biggest Taco Bell guy in the world.
Right.
Are you a Taco Bell guy? If so, what's your Taco Bell order?
Oh, okay. Interesting. It's funny because I am, you were talking about Sean McVay and the fitness and going to the gym. I'm kind of a fitness nut. I'll be honest. I go to the gym twice a day, and I currently am tracking every single thing I eat. So I'll be honest, I haven't had Taco Bell in a while because, I hope I'm not upsetting any Taco Bell sponsors somewhere in the future, but maybe not the best choice if you're trying to, be on point with everything. But I'll be honest, when I do go, my favorite, you ever been to a Taco Bell cantina specifically?
Dude, so I have, and it's kind of like it's basically like a 5-star restaurant plus Taco Bell, right? The cantina is a different. You can actually get alcohol there.
Yeah, it's the best. And I go when I go to Vegas. I'll be honest. I'm only a year and a couple months removed from college. I've been to Vegas quite a few times during the latter half of my college life. And that Taco Bell cantina, man, you go in there at 1:30, 2 a.m. and they got the music playing, the lights are flashing. And then to answer your question, I usually go pretty simple: Doritos Locos Taco. I think it's a can't miss one there. And then you get that spiked Baja Blast. It's usually a good time there. So I love it. We got people in the comments talking about crunchy tacos and bean burritos. LA Surfer says, I love it. I love it. I love it. But yeah, that's usually me. What about you?
Man, I'm pretty OG, honestly. I get little burrito supreme, taco supreme, maybe a gordita in there. But also, honestly, if you just ask for a pintos and cheese on the side, it just straight up the beans and the cheese and do maybe like an OG burrito. Pretty simple. I got to be in the mood though. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't had Taco Bell in a while myself. So, but I mean, we just got to we got to talk about what the players are into. And Devontae Adams like Mr. Taco Bell. So
yeah, you're right.
Hopefully,
you're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Those ads are hilarious, right? It's funny. Like you watch a new NFL season. I saw a bunch of tweets about new commercials and stuff that we got to get used to and everything. I think maybe a little bit more than we already see during the NFL season. We're going to be seeing those Devontae ads where he's got the Taco Bell in his house and everything, knowing that he's now a Ram. I think we've got to get used to that. But yeah, who knows? Maybe when I start seeing those ads, I'm going to start going to Taco Bell more because it certainly hits every time that you have it. We're keeping it live here on this special first edition of the Ram Squad Show. And when we come back, I want to talk about the outlook for this season. Obviously, it's the opener of the preseason, and we're all chomping at the bit for the season opener and for everything the Rams are going to show us in 2025. So when we come back, I want Doug to tell me what he thinks the ceiling is for this team. Is it the ultimate goal that you have every single season? We'll talk about that after our break here on the first ever Locked On Rams Squad Show. And I don't even have to read an ad, so we're jumping right back in to the last segment right now. Back here live, right here on the Locked On Rams YouTube channel and after the fact, both on the Locked On Rams YouTube channel and wherever you get the Locked On Rams audio podcast feed. I'm Gavin Carlson. If you don't know who I am, I've covered UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin as a journalist. I'm now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network. Also do the Angels postcast. They picked up a surprising win today in Detroit, and UCLA football postcast as well. And of course, I'm with Doug, who he does this every single day, the Locked On Rams daily show, also doing Dodger stuff. He's watching the game right now while doing the show. He's almost as busy as our other co-host, Big Michael Brockers, who was in here for the first half of the show. I'm excited. It's going to be a really fun season for this show. It's going to be a fun post-game show for you, I guess, because I'm hearing news it's 7-0 Dodgers. Is that correct?
Looks like it. Yeah, I was actually just messing around. But, yeah, it looks like Blake Snell had a really nice start tonight. The Dodgers playing well. But, yeah, I mean, it's just wild that it's already preseason, and then now it's going to be like, oh, man, the season's going by too fast, and you're going to be at Thanksgiving. I don't know. I just like to savor every moment of the football season now. So It's like I've already watched more preseason than I even normally do. I mean, I think the Jador Sanders game was a really interesting subplot for yesterday. And then so you point out today at the top of the show, I mean, Stetson Bennett does have the luxury of, hey, he's going to be the guy that's going to get a long runway during preseason to see what he can do. So, yeah, I mean, there is stuff to look at. You mentioned kind of the outlook of the season, though. Yeah. And let's get into this segment. I think, look, I don't want to say they dodged a bullet this week. I just think that the way that the media was being fed kind of information about Matthew Stafford and just some of these quotes, and you hear epidural, you hear a 37-year-old with back injuries, you start to get concerned. But I think now after today, it's okay, let's start thinking NFC Championship game, Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl, because you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback that still got it, still top 5 arm in this league, a Super Bowl head coach in Sean McVey, and then also you just have a lot of pieces that are either continuing to get close to their ceiling and get better. That's what makes this team so unique in my eyes, Gavin, is that you're competing for a Super Bowl, but you also have so many pieces that aren't finished products, right? There's a lot of guys. We don't even know if Puka Nacua has reached his ceiling. And then behind that, Kobe Turner, Byron Young. Then you got the Jared Verses and Braden Fisks of the world, even the Quinn Lakes of the world. There's just so much young talent on this team that's continuing to emerge, where if all of them take steps in the right direction and the veterans of this team performed up to their level, then I think that you're really in a spot where you got a softer schedule to start the year than you've had in years past. You have an NFC where you're kind of looking at Philly. I think that a Philly Rams rematch is something that could be in the cards, but it won't be in the division round. It'll be in the NFC Championship game potentially. And then you're just in a good spot. I think for me, the number one thing that concerns me when I wake up at 3:30 in the morning in a cold sweat is the health of the offensive line. I mean, we saw what happened a couple years ago when it felt like a season of Squid Game, dude just dropping every single week. Then you got the Alec Jackson blood clot thing, and you bring up DJ Humphries, and it's about protecting Matthew Stafford, especially if he's dealing with a back injury. So I think that's the number one thing for me. Like, if you could guarantee me a healthy and effective offensive line, I think that this team's floor is double-digit wins, and this team's ceiling is a Super Bowl appearance to a championship, depending on how things are going. I think there's enough talent in this building to win a Lombardi.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly agree. And like you said, the offensive line, I mean, I know you were talking about it on the Daily Show. I would talk about it on the postcast, right? Like, certainly there were games where you're like, if everyone's healthy, the offensive line, like, is this game even close? Like, the Rams maybe barely won one, and you're like, if it's healthy, like, this is a blowout. Or there's games where they lost. I mean, you don't even have to go back that far. Just think about how the season ended for the Rams. And if the offensive line looks a little bit different on one play, let alone for a whole game, how different things could have been. The good news is there's some depth, right? At least interior line, it feels like it. I mean, we got to see Bo Limmer again, in the starting center role. The good news is he doesn't have to do that this year. And so you got some depth there interior wise. But yes, I mean, the situation at left tackle is going to be, it's always important. It's the reason now left tackles are getting paid as much as, a quarterback is. And, I don't want to bring up Rashawn Slater and, other situations where the teams don't have the luxury of having a left tackle. And like you said, it couldn't be any more important when your quarterback is old and a little bit fragile. So I agree. It's kind of like, not only if you could guarantee Rams health, especially at offensive line, I'm confident enough to say if you could guarantee health for every single player in the NFL, for every single team, right, Rams included, I still like our shot more than just about anyone's, right? So I think that's a good position you want to be in. Obviously, you can't control what happens in the injury world, but certainly we like where we're at. I think defensively, the depth there, especially defensive line, I mean, you brought up Braden Fisk. The fact that nobody nationally brings up Braden Fisk because all they do is talk about Jared Verse, right? All they do is talk about Kobe Turner. It's like the depth on the D-line is insane. We're talking about Omar Spates last year being an undrafted or late, guy that comes in and he's a starter throughout the year. You talk about a Quentin Lake. The depth defensively, it's like offensive line, you're scared about who's going to have to sub in. I just think this year, and you let me know if you disagree, I just feel really confident about if there's maybe one or two hiccups on the injury front or anything on the defensive side of the ball, like defensive back is always going to be the biggest question with this team, but I feel pretty confident, at least with the front seven, just with the depth there. What do you thought? Especially seeing what we saw today, you got a mid-round pick that looked really good and some other guys making plays as well. What are your thoughts on kind of the front seven and the depth there?
Yeah, I think that Rams fans, when you talk about the defensive line in recent years, the first name that pops up is Aaron Donald, and rightfully so, one of the best defensive players ever. And it was the Aaron Donald show, right? I mean, he's the guy doing work. Of course, the guys in there that helped him out along the way. But I think the difference between this era of the Rams defensive line is it's more of, okay, let's do it by committee with high-level talent. And you've got guys that have the potential to be stars up and down that defensive line. I mean, Jared Verse was the number 19 pick. If you would do a redraft, he's a top 5 pick, right? I mean, that's how good he was last season. And he knows that when it comes to some missed tackles early on, taking angles and things like that, that he can get even better. So his ceiling is all pro. His ceiling is defensive player of the year. And when you have a guy that young and that talented, along with like a Kobe Turner who continues to get better, who's going to be a highly paid, wealthy dude at some point in the near future, you got the recipe for kind of the identity of what the Rams are about, is you kind of build in the trenches, right? I mean, that has always been this organization's calling card. So yeah, from up front, I think one of the big questions that is something you can link to tonight's game is Michael Hoyt's gone, right? And when you kind of look at that depth piece at the edge rusher spot behind Jared Verse and Byron Young, well, Josiah Stewart today was extremely impressive. And I think that he could be the next in line for one of these Rams later round picks that you didn't really talk too much about when he was drafted, but then he's just a very strong, solid foundational piece. I think the way that he was pressuring Joe Milton, the way that he was playing the run game today, he was their most consistent pass rusher, and there is some competition at that spot. Like I said, with the departure of Michael Hoyt. So, yeah, depth is there, and you drafted that depth. And the number one question I think that a lot of pundits and analysts that just kind of look at this team in a vacuum and make an assessment on them is, okay, their cornerback play is going to be weak, and you didn't go out there and draft a corner high, or you didn't go out there and trade for one. You didn't go out there and get a Jair Alexander when he was available potentially, when a lot of people thought they should have. Well, the truth is, look, Ahkello Witherspoon, back half of last season, especially in the playoffs, especially against the Vikings, against Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, actually played well against the Eagles too. He's long. He's on the outside. And then on the other side, Darius Williams serves to have a better year. And then the big X factor is Kobe Durant, because Durant is in the final year of his rookie deal. He's flashed in his history with the Rams as far as a guy can make some plays. He's a little versatile, can play him the slot a little bit too. But I think that, like, as you point out, like, the D-line has the potential to be so elite that can overcome some of the deficiencies in other areas. And also, too, I think you have one of the best defensive coordinators in football in Chris Shula. Like, his name alone probably, like, subtracts like 10 points per game, right? Just from that pedigree, and then the experience, and then if the offense does what they're supposed to do, then that can supplement it some well. Like, they're not going to be the 85 Bears, right? But I still think that this defense this year is going to be better than the defense last year. Other guy, too, I really love in stuffing the run is Poona Ford. I think that's going to be a big, massive addition that we're going to talk about all season long. Yeah, absolutely. I think, like, I always love to look big picture a little bit, especially like we're wrapping up this show and just kind of looking at the state of things. Like, if you would have told me, 2 years ago that this would be the position the Rams are in, like you're saying, they have this unique opportunity where you're bridging some NFL legends and Stafford and Devontae Adams, not Cooper Kupp anymore, right? And you're filling holes of NFL legends like an Aaron Donald or our guy, Michael Brockers, right? And yet you're also doing it with young guys. You have, I think, some of the best depth in the NFL. Like we're saying, imagine how many teams are drafting a guy like Josiah Stewart, with the 90th overall pick in the third round, and saying, we need you to come in and get 5 sacks, right? We need you to come in and maybe be our starting edge, right? This guy is a luxury piece. He's a weapon you can throw in the way a team throws in a fourth wide receiver when they have a creative play offensively. Like, it's such a luxury to have. And just the fact that this is the position the Rams are in, where we're talking about the Super Bowl when you acquire Matthew Stafford, or when you have the state of the roster and you're trading away picks, we're going to try to win in year 1 or year 2. And oh boy, I'm scared for what's going to happen a couple years from now, man. It's big 2025, as we like to say. You talk about some of the young slang, it's big 2025. And we're talking about Matthew Stafford leading the Rams, hopefully to a long season run. And so that's why it's going to be so exciting as a Rams fan, and so exciting on this show to be breaking it down all year long. I got to ask before we go, Doug, it's weird because you're obviously the host every day with your show, and I'm coming here kind of doing the pseudo host thing. What before we wrap this up, what do you want to talk about? I feel like I'm asking all the questions here, and it's like I want to make sure that this is your show as much as mine. I think you do an incredible job, fantastic job. It's fun kind of being in this role, to be honest. But
there you go.
I would say we did have a conversation a couple days ago, and you mentioned that you are from the Bay Area, right? And that probably the assumption is you're from the Bay Area, you become a 49ers fan, right? But instead, you have the same opinion towards the 49ers as Aaron Donald does, when Aaron Donald said a few years back, I hate the 49ers, right? And of course, hate's a strong word. We're all just having fun here. But what is it, and what was it that you did not like about the 49ers growing up in the Bay Area, Gavin?
I mean, I don't want to say where do we start, but maybe where do we start? I mean,
do your top 50. No.
I think it's something about, like, when there's those national brands, and in the NFL, I think the best example is the team we played today, the Cowboys, right? When you talk about national brands like the Cowboys and the Steelers and the Niners and stuff like that, like, it just gets so annoying. I mean, and it's certainly growing up in that area, right? Just like, I'm all for football being religion. I think football is religion in our lives, right? The Rams are just watching the NFL in general, but like this is our year every year, we're the talk of the NFL, even when you're not. like the Cowboys do it, Niners fans do it. They want to talk about showing up to SoFi Stadium and turning it red, but then they never want to talk about the score when they lose the ball game, right? Or they talk about the fact that their season was a disaster at the end of last year, right? Like, come on now, right? So I don't know. That's what it is. Anthony seems to agree. He says, I stand with Gavin Carlson. I love it. Tommy also has been a fan of this already. He says, you both are great. I appreciate that. I think everyone's really enjoying it. It's going to be a fun year for this show and for this Rams team for sure. And the fact that there's 100 people in here throughout the show, an hour in, I didn't even tell people. I don't know if I told people how long the show is going to be. And we've got a bunch of people in here leaving comments, sticking around the whole time. So shout out to all of you. If you are new here, somehow, if you don't already know who Doug is and you don't already follow this YouTube channel and this podcast on YouTube, hit subscribe on all the audio podcast platforms, leave the reviews, do all that fun stuff. But especially here on YouTube, because it's live on game days, make sure you're in here joining us and hit that like button, do everything to support us. We appreciate you guys so much. Again, reminder, we will be back here in the middle of the week. We're going to be doing a midweek show every week and then a post-game show live every weekend. So we'll be back in the middle of the week and we'll be back here live after every Rams post-game, both the preseason and all year long. Doug, any final words from you before we wrap up the first ever Rams squad show?
Yeah, I loved your diatribe of the 49ers. I mean, I love the point about how they take over SoFi Stadium and they lose. I mean, when I always say it's not bang, bang, Niner gang, it's bang, bang, escalator gang, because all that red going down the escalators. But no, man, it's a lot of fun. Great to have Brock on board. Great to have you on board. It's going to be a great season for the Ramley out there. I mean, a lot of teams out there, they try to do what the Rams do, but they skip the part where they win the Super Bowl. Let's see if the Rams can make another run this season, and it's going to be fun along the way.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, I'll let you get to the rest of your Saturday night. Shout out to everybody in here again. Leave a like, comment, all that good stuff. And we will be back here in the midweek. We'll be back here all season long. Have a great rest of your weekend. Go Rams. And we'll be back here. Ramley, baby. Whose house? Whose house? Take care.